What's up, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of Riff Revival. That riff you just heard was completely MIDI. Don't believe me? I'm about to show you. It was completely fake guitars. It's real guitar, but it wasn't me playing it. It was Axure, my guitar MIDI library. My name is Alan. I'm a guitarist, audio engineer, and audio software developer, and I make videos about riffs, mainly focusing around music production, writing riffs, audio engineering stuff, just general music stuff. Axure MIDI guitar. Can it be used in final productions? Has it been used in final productions? Has it been used in commercial productions? Yes and yes. So if you're not using MIDI in 2025, you're getting left behind. Get with the times, man. So a lot of sort of feedback I get with Axure is, why would I use this? I could just play guitar, right? Well, you can use it many different ways, and I'm going to show you one of those ways today. Axure is not meant to replace you as a guitarist. It's meant to help you. It's a songwriting tool. It's a production tool. It's not really meant to replace you. It's something that a lot of people get confused about. I've said this in another video, but it's like the same thing when MIDI drums first came about. People were upset that producers were using MIDI drums or drum replacements in their productions, and look where we are now. Most modern productions that you hear today have some sort of sample replacement or MIDI instrument on it. That's just the reality. Over the past year, I've been using Axure in my productions just to kind of supplement the guitars or write completely full productions. So there's a couple of guys out there that have used Axure in their final productions, which I just found out something pretty cool. So my buddy Brandon Callum of Strayview is an artist, songwriter, producer, and he worked on a track that was released by a legitimate band on a record label, and he used Axure for the guitars. He used Axure on Sleep Theory's new single, Parasite. He was recently a working engineer on the new single. So the single was produced by David Cowell, it was mixed by Zach Cervini, and mastered by Ted Jensen. If you watched last week's episode, you'll know that I found out who Zach Cervini and Ted Jensen were because they mixed and mastered the new President single. Brandon had an opportunity to work with these engineers. He came in on the project adding additional guitar and guitar programming, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's really cool that Zach Cervini and Ted Jensen were the mix and mastering engineers. So that's pretty sick, man. So Axure has been used on a legitimate commercial release. I'll leave a link in the description for you for that song if you wanted to check it out. Also, one of our content creators at Study Sound Audio, Chris Bedan, he released a single with his band. I think it's Oni Noir. I might be messing that up. Oni Noir. Chris released a single with his band, Oni Noir, called From the Inside. And the whole track is Axure, like no real guitars, straight up Axure guitars, and it sounds so sick. So if you want to go check out that track, I'll leave a link in the description for you for that as well. But both of those tracks have Axure on it in their legitimate releases. I feel like people might be scared to do that because it's MIDI guitar, but you can get some pretty convincing results with it. And that's what today's video is about. MIDI guitar is nothing to be scared of. I know there's a lot of people out there that are on the fence and they're like, nah, man, I'll just play the guitar. That's cool, because I was the same way. When I created this thing, I was the same way. I was like, why would I use this? If I create this thing, I'm gonna have to use it. Actually, I love using it now. I use it in everything that I do now. Not because I created it, but because I fell in love with programming MIDI guitars. Many use cases for Axure. If you've ever heard of the bass trick, where some engineers, they'll blend a bass sub MIDI track in with their production so they can keep the low end consistent and in tune. And the same thing can be done with Axure. You basically just program your guitar riff, and you know that your guitar riffs are going to be in tune. You're going to keep that steady note. You're going to keep that steady tune. And it also helps widen the guitars. And a lot of times you can use the Axure guitars outright. So what I've been doing lately is I'll just blend them. I'll probably have the Axure guitar just a little bit louder than the track guitars. And then sometimes I'll have the track guitars a little bit louder than the MIDI guitars. But in this track today, the intro riff you heard was all MIDI. I'm going to show you the same track where Axure is blended with the real takes. Not only just blending the guitars, but you can use them to fix guitars. Let me lay out a scenario for you. So say you're working with a band and they send you some tracks. They're terrible. They're garbage, out of tune, not on time. And they're like, hey, we need this track mixed. Here's $200 or whatever. I don't know what you guys are charging nowadays, but when you get these tracks, you don't want to tell the band to retrack them. That's going to take more time, more money. So what you could do, you can reprogram the guitars with it. Or if the band has a guitar take and there's a mistake in it, you can program the guitar and to fix that mistake. Use the same exact tone, reamp it, plug it in where you need it. Bam, there you go.
Bam! Damn!
Or say there's a ring out on a note at the end of a song and it's not long enough. They didn't track it. Like, this has happened to me more than once, actually. A band will send me a track and it's just a chord and then they stop too early and it's like supposed to ring out. Most of the time I'll just retrack it myself or just program those notes in, let the notes ring out. They're going to be perfectly in tune. They're going to be stable, consistent. Bam, there you go.
Peanut butter and jam! What the are you doing, Phil?
Or if you're a person that likes to write on the go, if you travel a lot, you want to write music in a coffee shop, or if you're a touring musician, you can use Axure while you're on tour to write. There's many musicians that have just started doing this with Axure. So my buddy Clayton messaged me the other day and told me that he's got everybody on the tour that he's on using Axure and everybody loves it. So I'm stoked to hear all the good news about Axure. All in all, MIDI guitar is not meant to replace you. It's meant to help you. It's just another tool in the tool belt. It's really cool to know that Axure has been used on commercial releases. I'm pretty proud of that, and I hope more of you start to use them in your productions. And hopefully this video will convince you a little bit more. I'm gonna show you my actual live take side by side with Axure and show you how similar they sound and show you exactly how I programmed them as well. So the guitar I used to track, the guitar that I used to make the guitar library, this is what Axure is based off of, my Carvin, also known as Kiesel guitars. I really wish this was a Kyber right about now. I love Kiesel guitars. I love Carvin guitars. Maybe one day they'll notice me. All right, enough yapping. Let's get into it. All right, here we are in the session. I redid my session, guys. I got pretty bored. Went ahead and made some folders because you can do that in Reaper. Keep everything tidy and neat. The goofy little icons, turd polish right here on the main. That's funny. We've got guitars. So what I did is I reamped with Axure, which is Rigdon. All these plugins are not on, by the way. Science Experiments, 2 instances. I have a left guitar, right guitar, and then a lead that I programmed. As you can see, I have them muted right now because I reamped them. Now these takes right here are going to be the live takes. I tried my best to track them as best I could, and that comes with a lead. And then we have the reamped with Axure right here. And I used the Quad Cortex to reamp. I have my rhythm tone on both of these and then my lead tone on that. Same with these, rhythm tone on both of those, lead tone on that one. That same little thing from the beginning of the video. This is straight up Axure, nothing else, not blending any real guitars with this. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty convincing. Pretty happy with the way that turned out. The tones, the programming sounded sick. Now, use cases for Axure. What I have been doing lately is blending real guitars and Axure guitars, and I'll have the Axure guitars slightly louder just because I want them to be more of the focal point. Blending the real guitar take with Axure, it's going to sound even better. I have to adjust some levels real quick. I'm going to turn the rhythm reamps back down to -10. And then turn the lead down. I did a couple of exports and I found that 50 right and 50 left on the lead. On both leads were a sweet spot, so I'm happy with that. So I'm sending it to the guitar bus, going 50 left and 50 right for the sends. That way you don't get a weird stereo image. Reaper's so weird with the way it routes. Even though you're panning at 50 left and you're sending it to something else, it's gonna be like still up the middle unless you pan the send as well. So, and we're gonna listen to it with the blended guitars. So this is gonna be the real lead and this is gonna be the Axure lead. And then these 2 rhythms are the real rhythms, and those are going to be the Axure rhythms. And I've got both of the rhythm sections turned down -10 dB, and this is what that sounds like. Sick. Okay, let's get a loop going here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let it play over and over, and I'm going to mute the Axure guitars, and then I'll unmute them, and then I'll mute the regular guitars and show you the difference and how much it helps whenever you blend Axure with the real guitars. pretty cool. As you can see, Axure is helping fill that width. I'm going to show you again one more time, but without the lead, because the lead fills up the spaces and the gaps there. So to hear the rhythms a little bit better, we're going to do the same exact thing. This is with everything, and then I'll mute the Axure first. Okay, I'll let you hear the lead by itself. All right, now this is the real lead. Okay, pretty close, really close actually. Now what I did when I was programming, I made sure to program all the mistakes that I had too. Sometimes whenever I'm doing like a hammer on pull off sort of thing with certain strings, I'll accidentally hit an open where I shouldn't. I'm playing so fast that you can't even really tell. So it's like a little mistake in between the notes. And I went ahead and programmed that too, so that I can get the most authentic take with Axure. I'll show you what I mean right here. Right there, you can hear the little open notes that I did at the end here. Now those notes are not in key. You know, that was the mistake that I had in the original take, and I went ahead and just programmed that too. I think it's this note. Those two notes right there. Those are open notes that I probably shouldn't have played. Since I played them, I programmed it, and it sounds just like the original take. Now, the rhythm track. There you have it. I'm going out of my interface on the 5th output into a DI box. And then out of the DI box is going into the input of my Quad Cortex. To get the sound back into the interface, I'm going out of the left channel of the Quad Cortex and going into input 2 on my interface. So therefore you have a loop and it just plays back into your system with the tone on it. It seems complex, but it's pretty simple to do actually. The hardest part about it is the routing with the physical unit. You just route it, you just do it. I don't know how to be more helpful than that. It's just basically a feedback loop into the interface. And I EQ'd the tone a little bit more outside of the Quad Cortex. All the guitars are feeding into this guitar bus. I'll let you hear what the guitars sound like with and without my processing. All I have here is phantom center just to kind of widen the guitars a little bit. Then I have some fab filter. I do this a lot where I boost with a high shelf around 2K, and then I kind of notch out all the nasty stuff, all the stuff that kind of just makes your ears bleed. And then I have a low pass filter right there at 8 or 9K actually. Usually I do about 8.5K. And then I have a compressor. Just a basic Reaper compressor. Now this compressor is actually side chained from the kick. every time the kick hits, the guitars duck just a little bit. I do this to my bass, and I also do this very, very slightly to my guitars. It's barely taking any out, like 1 to 2 dB at most. You don't want to do any more than that, because when you go a little bit more, it just starts sounding like it's like pumping, and you don't want that, especially for guitars. You want your guitars to be beefy, but just to kind of get them a little bit out of the way when the kick hits, I have them side chained. So you can't even tell that it's doing anything, but it's taking out about -2, 2.2, but it's just kind of getting rid of the low end peaks whenever the kick hits. That's a nifty little trick you guys can use. That's pretty much the guitar bus. When it comes to programming the MIDI, I want you guys to not be scared of this, because yes, it does take time to program MIDI guitars, but it's really not that bad. It's kind of like programming bass or drums. Since MIDI is MIDI, there is some delay, especially with guitars, because when I made the guitar library, I wanted to make sure the pick attack was in the sample. Because if you just have straight up note, like the milliseconds of pick scrape that you have in a sample, I didn't want to get rid of that whatsoever. I wanted to have all of that, every millisecond of pick attack. In order to do that, I kind of had to make each sample off time. Even if you program it on the grid, you're going to have a slight delay in the sample. So what I like to do when I program my guitars is, once I have everything programmed to the grid, I'll highlight everything and I'll move it over just a hair. You can see I have it a little bit before this bar line right here. And that's just to make sure that the pick attack hits at the right time and then the note hits at the exact right time. So I'll move this one to 1/28 notes. And then on the second guitar, I'll do the same thing, but I won't move it 2 notches. I'll move it just 1/128 note, so that both guitars are not hitting at the same exact time. And that also helps you avoid phase. Another thing that you should do when you're programming your guitar MIDI is you're making sure that not every note hits at the same time. Like if you're doing a chord, this open chug, we'll zoom in here a bit and get granular. Sorry guys if you hear my kids screaming in the background. They're just super excited to be on Earth, and there's nothing I can do about that. So I just let them have fun. These 2 notes don't start at the same time, and that's for good reason, because guitar players cannot play every single note at the same time. I'm sorry, it's just not possible. Move your note over if you're doing chords especially. So if I had a 3rd note right here, I would move it right there. So this one's plucked, that one's plucked, and then that one's plucked. Because when you have them all at the same time, that's a no-no. That's going to sound robotic and stupid. Let's not do that. There's 3 different velocity layers with Axure. There's soft, medium, and hard hits, and they all live within certain velocity ranges. Because they're different samples, that also helps you avoid phase. I'll go through and I'll just turn some of the velocity layers down for the other strings, because obviously you're not going to hit them the same like hardness as the first string. This one's 96, that one's 83, just to create some sort of depth to the guitars. And then bends. Okay, so there is a bendy thing that I do. The easiest way to do bends with MIDI guitar is just automate it. It's going to be better if you automate it. It's really cool if you have like an external fader or something you can use as a fader, like a MIDI controller. Do it by hand right here. So I just tried to create a sort of realistic-ish bend. It sounds better with the tone on it and everything, but right now it sounds a little wacky, but I kind of draw in my own bends. There's other ways you can do this that's a little cleaner. So you just highlight a note, you make your points, right click, and you do LFO. You got to choose the LFO shape first. So let's do sine wave. You get the point. You can build certain curves the way you want. Let's hear what that sounds like. Obviously that sounds goofy and not natural. You can get it to sound natural. You just have to kind of spend a little time with it. But that was the only bend in the lead part. Now this, I could have programmed it a little bit more natural. Now this is alternate picking. Another thing that I like to do, and I've done this in another video, is if you're doing parts like this where it's alternate picking, obviously you're going to go downstroke then upstroke. So this note should start first and this note should come after. That's the more natural way to do it. So if I was going to get more technical about it, I would also kind of take all these notes and put a different velocity layer on them. Or every 4th note, a higher velocity to kind of give it some more depth. but you get the idea. It just takes some time to kind of get it to how you want it to sound. That's the reason why you hear my MIDI tracks and they sound the way they do. They sound good because I spend the time to kind of do these little tiny things. If you're hearing some MIDI guitar and it sounds pretty bad, it's usually somebody that's pretty lazy with it, or they're probably using a bad VST. Just be mindful whenever you see people using MIDI guitar, because some of them are not using it the right way. I've been working with this MIDI guitar stuff for a while now, so I kind of know the ins and outs of it, what works, what doesn't work. You know, this is the most effective way to get it to sound realistic. And remember those notes that I said that I was hitting that weren't in key? The mistake note, there they are right there. And then you have a release noise right here. That's basically just like the noise of your fingers coming off of the note. Very important if you want it to sound natural. So whenever you have chugs or the end of a note somewhere where it cuts out and then there's a space in between notes or something, always put a release note after your notes. That's pretty much the lead. I might reamp that later, actually. That's pretty much it, man. There's not much to this track. I wrote this literally in like an hour. Let me know in a comment if you guys want me to turn this into a song, because this riff kind of sounds cool. Kind of sounds a little bit like Counterparts or something like that. But honestly, when I was writing the riff, I was going for pop punk. Because I had a video idea where I was going to showcase different styles with Axure, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a pop punk song, and then this is what came out. So this is definitely not pop punk. I like the way the riff sounds. It came out pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the rundown of Axure, and I'll let you guys hear it again. So this is with Axure blended in. So let's try something different here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the right guitar for the real guitar, and then I'm going to mute the left guitar for the Axure guitar, so that we still have a left and right take, but the left take is going to be the real take, and the right take is going to be Axure. And see if you could tell which one's real, which one's not. So since we're getting rid of 2 guitar tracks, we're going to turn the ones that we have up to -6. There you have it. I'm pretty convinced, man. I think Axure could definitely be used on commercial productions, final productions, legit songs. It's been done. If you're still in denial, then you're just a hater. I feel bad for you still living in the past. No, in all seriousness though, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. Appreciate you guys listening to me talk about Axure. This is a really great songwriting tool, and it's also a good production tool. And I'm just now learning that so many people are using this in their production. And it's making me so stoked, because that was my goal when I first started this. I wanted to help musicians. For real, that's the company slogan or whatever. It's like helping musicians. I didn't create this to make money. I didn't create this for any other reason to just help people. I would have loved a tool like this when I was first starting out. It's really cool that it exists now. And if you get discouraged, if your MIDI is not sounding that realistic, try some different tones. Try some different things with the way you program it, because I promise you, you can get it to sound pretty sick. Per the example right here, I'm probably going to mix Axure guitars with real guitars from here on out. I genuinely think it sounds awesome, and I hope you guys think so too. That's it for today's episode. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you sticking around. Thank you guys for being a part of the channel for 19 episodes. That's a lot, but also that doesn't seem like very many. Next episode's 20, so maybe I'll do something special for the 20th episode. I enjoy making these things. If you guys want to see more things like this, just let me know in a comment what kind of stuff you guys want to see from me. If you have any questions about Axure, let me know in a comment. I'll be happy to answer you. I need to get to hanging my guitars up. I got a new guitar rack that's supposed to go on this wall back here. Oh, just remembered. By the way, guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret how I got these tracks to sound so good. Happy Cable Company. The Happy Cable Company guys helped me out with these cables, and they are really sick. Very great quality, man. They're very sturdy. Sorry, I got like dog hair all over this thing. These cables are made very well, dude. I don't know what material that is, but it feels sturdy. It feels like that Chinese finger trap material, you know? Those little Chinese finger traps you got when you're a kid and you're like at the book fair or the, what's it, accelerated reader? You read one book and save up all your points to get a Chinese finger trap? Or was that just me? It's got the Chinese finger trap material, super great quality, very sturdy, very low noise. That's what I love about these cables. Actually, no noise, to be honest with you. They sent me two. They sent me a blue one and a purple one, my two favorite colors. I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, but it is a specialty cable that has low noise. And I think this one is too, but they're both great cables. I'm pretty sure these things added a little oomph to the tracks to get them to sound crisp. So check out Happy Cable Company, sick company, really great people over there, really great products. So yeah, I'm gonna go eat me some dinner, probably drink a hot chocolate and maybe play some Nintendo Switch and go to bed. I'll see you guys next week.